Hello everyone. Good to see you all here. And sorry, last late topic, and it will be in English. Unfortunately, I can't perform in Polish yet, but hopefully next time I'll be better. So yeah, we today heard about testing and about UX. So let's talk about UI a little bit. And yeah, today I'm going to talk to you about developing shared UI libraries. So my name is Polina. I'm senior UI developer, and 3 years ago I've started work for one of our Grid Dynamics' big financial customers, and the project was the team actually worked on complete development framework, which consists of multiple UI libraries, which was used by, and still used by, I can't tell exact number, but definitely more than 20 enterprise applications. And such a project could be a complete disaster, especially for a young developer, because you can imagine pressure and responsibility that you have here. And but it was great, actually. I thought it would be really worst project in my life, and I will get fired. But it was great. I got great mentor. I don't know, the best mentor that a young developer can even dream about. And actually having a good person who can drive and define game rules for such a complex project, having such a person can be pretty great for you, and such a product can benefit a lot of developers. So let's start. Let's talk about shared UI libraries. And the main question that I'm going to answer today is, should we spend time on building shared UI libraries? Because it's not really easy, and is it worth it spending so much time on such a products? So let's start. And first of all, let's define what is shared library. Yeah, which parts of application can and should be considered as a shareable. Define shared library as a set of useful and reusable blocks for our applications, which are actually combined by some purpose and meant to use together across multiple applications, multiple projects. And I'm having this definition here because I bet all of you, if you're a developer, all of you are already working on such a project. Because if we'll talk about types of shared libraries, even having some folder with the shared components within your application also can be considered as a working on shared library. And all principles that I'm going to talk today about can be also applied to this type of projects. So let's start. And what are our first steps in this journey in creating shared libraries? Where to start? So first of all, I would recommend you to go through this checklist and try to set these check marks if your application follows it. And pretty much if there's multiple functionality usages, like having different sorts of buttons on some repeated codes or whatever, if your project has predefined set of business rules and design guidelines, UX guidelines, and if you're using unified technology stack, it's not always like really requirements for introducing shared library, but in most cases, you should have some unified stack. And here I would recommend you to perform inventory. And not only interface inventory, like go through all your applications and have a look on all your buttons, all your inputs, all your other components, and collect them somewhere, but also check your code base. And such tools like SonarQube can allow you to find all code duplicates and so on, so you can know that this this functionality should be segregated to shared library. And definitely then, select which exact library do you need, and the most important, define which technologies you should use. And here as well can be some plain JavaScript, TypeScript libraries, or there can be some framework. And in this case, there is, there's 3 options. And usually we go with the first one, where we are choosing one framework, which is used on all our applications. And that's the easiest one. But there is also always downsides for this approach. And I'd say that in ideal world, there should be combination of second and the third point, where we have framework agnostic library, like using web components. And if there is need, we can create some wrappers in some particular frameworks above this web components library. So we decided that we would want to build our shared library and defined with a stack, but how to build, how to do it correctly, how to build library correctly. And the first one, the first category of these principles is equality. And the idea on the next slide, actually the main idea of my whole topic. So if I would have asked, leave one slide from your whole presentations, it would be this slide. So shared library and its examples should be best part of your code base. And that's because developers usually just get to example, especially if it's done if it's example of some shared functionality which is spread across multiple applications, and there is team that supports this library. So they usually just copy and paste this example, and that's it. They don't care what's going on there. And if you add some small code smell in your examples or in your library, so all your applications will smell at some point of time. So that's the most important thing. And to keep this quality on a high level, there is multiple tools that we can use. So all sorts of linting, using SonarQube to detect some problems in your code, strict rules for code review and strict style guides, rules for contribution, and as a maybe most important thing here is there is no quick fixes anymore, because as I said, so if you'll implement some hack in your code, it will be across all of your applications at some point of view. So, and everything else that you can imagine, feel free to use them. It will benefit you. Of course, testing good product, which is used across multiple applications, should be well tested. And here, I want to say that usually such projects who are developing the shared libraries are not really have own QA engineers. So I would recommend here pay attention to end-to-end tests. So at least consider implementing them for your applications. That's really can be useful. And next step is documentation. The most important, maybe like the second important after having your library in the best code quality. And here, having all sorts of documentation will benefit, JS docs, markdown files, examples, wiki pages for some migration guides and so on, examples of usages. And but it would be great to have your documentation site if it's needed, of course. And here, these libraries can help you. First three, Highlight.js, djne, and Markdownit, are actually creating static HTML files from your source, like from comments on your code, from Markdown files, and so on. And Storybook here is actually a complete framework for creation documentations with isolated examples. So yeah, that's kind of cool thing to try on, and not only on such a projects like a shared library, but on your projects as well. So we talked about quality, and let's have a look on actual implementation rules. Yeah, the main important here would be encapsulation. So it's really important to define rules how users for developers should use your product. Here it's really important to also not only encapsulate your logic, but also your styles, because it can be it can break your users' applications which you don't want them. Okay, and the next thing that I'm going to talk to you is extending implementing third-party dependencies and extending other libraries. And yeah, all sorts of libraries. You will definitely use some of them, because it would be some frameworks, some utilities. I don't know, even in plain JS library, you will use something. But here we all know that we can benefit from using shared libraries. But here we would want to pay attention on cons of using, let's say, not just using third-party libraries, but having a lot of them. That's increased bundle size, dependencies. You will have problems with the library upgrades, and in this case, you would have to release major version of your exact library, and so on and so on. So the main idea here is to think twice before adding some dependencies. And if you decided to do it, be careful and prepare, perform major investigation, and find the exact library that you would want to use. Just thought from my side, it's always better to add one good library with everything that you need than add some set of different libraries. And if you decided to use one of them or few of them, please be careful and create wrapper which uses only public library API, because you can have big problems here. And I don't have much time today, but yeah, it's better not to use private API, because it's meant to change, and you will have big problems with this. And yeah, add peer but not direct dependency. So peer dependencies means that users of your library will have to install manually this package specific that you are depending on. Okay, and yeah, let's talk a little bit about NPM libraries, which are like majority of them that we are using and implementing as well. And here, like 3 small things. That first of all, use semantic versioning. It's not only with the NPM libraries, but it's really easy and powerful thing that will allow you to implement versioning. And if you are using it together with a conventional commit specification, allows you like running one command, which is standard version bump, to update your package.json version of your application just on your last commit message. As a benefit, this library generates you changelog MD file, which can be used to for releases page on your documentation site. Also, I would recommend to implement this organization NPM scope, which allows you to. So it's pretty much for organizational purposes, and it's easy to find all source codes and node modules. Also, it's private by default, and so on and so on, and that's just really useful. And actually, the main problem here is having library with the same name. And I don't know if you tried it, but if you'll go to npm org.js, npm.js org, and you will try to type any word in English in search field, in 99% cases, there is library with exact name. So if you never tried it, it's pretty funny. So next thing that would be useful as well for NPM libraries is splitting your library to secondary entry points, which allows you to minify bundle sizes and like have this strict segregation of for different modules of your library, if there is some. And also specify specific dependencies for specific modules. Okay, so we talked about NPM management, managing NPM packages, but also I would want to talk here about like general management of your applications. And here, the previous speaker would really pretty much talked about this, but work with a continuous collaboration with the business and UX is really important thing, and not only on a starting point, but when you're supporting your library, it's also really important, because in my experience, there was situations when developer get into me saying, "Hey, Polina, I got mockup from UX, and there is this component, and it looks not like in your library. What should I do with this?" And so on and so on. And I'm just seeing, and I know that they just didn't sync up with us, and it's not in library, and it's not possible to do it with our library right now. So yeah, that's not really pleasant situation. So try to avoid it. Try to manage this continuous collaboration and communication with the business team. Also, yeah, it's really good if you want to promote your library. It's always good to start all new applications with usage of this particular library. So which will keep you a lot of time of like implementing this, integrating this library. And here, there's huge help of some scripts that can be written. And here there is packages that can help here. That's Angular schematics. Don't care that it's Angular. It can be used with any frameworks and so on. And Yeoman generators. And the first one allows you to implement migration scripts and components creation scripts. And the second one actually allows you to generate full applications, new one, where you can already have all the rules defined in your company and so on, and all needed library installed. Finally, good news. We are done. We went through this painful path. We did everything good. So good for us. Seems that job well done. That's it. But no. Spoiler alert. No. So what's next? And next we have actually continuous development and support. And here, I don't know, can some of you give me example of best library. It has great documentation. It satisfies all your needs. You really like it, and there is no any problems in this library. jQuery, good example. Yeah, a little bit old one, but okay. And yeah, my thought here and my opinion here that there is no such thing as an ideal library. And be sure that you will be told that your one is not perfect as well. So, and it's not that easy, but that's life. And you'll have to collaborate. You'll have to work with your users. You'll have to communicate a lot. And I don't know, be patient and work on this. And the main rule here afterwards, when we've implemented already everything, is that each library should have responsible person who will drive it, who will like bring other peoples to work there, even just support it. But there should be this specific person, because if you build great library and just leave it there and all developers can contribute and no one checks it, it will be a complete disaster really soon. So let's try to sum it up a little bit. So, and of course, yeah, let's create pro-con list. Should we or should not implement shared library? And as a pro, definitely development speed, because we will create library, no one will implement it, just use, everything great. But we'll have to really carefully implement all the changes, test it really well, be careful everywhere. I went through painful circles of pull request review and so on and so on. UI consistency. So yeah, we'll work with our UXers and they will promote to us some business style guides, brand designs, and so on. But there is some situations where you have to, something should be different and so on and so on. So you'll have to create your components such a way that they can be customizable, not like completely customizable, but a little bit customizable, because you'll still have your main brain design. Yeah, maintenance and standardization. If you have some major changes coming up, you're just changing it in one place, everything is good, but you and so on and so on. And application performance will be better because all functionality is segregated. There is no code duplicates, but there is additional library that will be installed, and everyone will know that there is one library which is meant to be used on our project in our company and so on. But yeah, also they know where to find you, and that's you who did it. And yeah, working on this list, each point that I come up with, like, went to both columns, and there is actually no answer for this one, but there is some benefits that you will definitely gain, and no one will take it from you. And I think that's this can just go to pro column if we forgot that we spent a lot of time and went through some painless paths. It will be just pros. And yeah, that's your skills. That's your hard skills, because working on such a project, you'll have to maintain and follow all these rules and become better and better in all these areas, and just become better engineer. And definitely soft skills, because you'll have to communicate with a lot of people and do all this stuff. You'll have to document a lot. You'll have to explain everyone why why they are wrong, and you'll fix everything and everything will be fine. So yeah, and as a result, I would say it's worth it. I'm still here, I'm still alive. It's not that easy, but yeah, and the product that we are building is really benefits all projects and multiple developers, and I really think that we are doing great job there. But if you follow in defined principles, if you are following these rules and keeping your product as best as you can, it's worth it. So that's it from my side. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.